and we have discussed in a total. We have taken an introduction to the course, right? So in today's class, I will take you to the next level. In the sense, we will just start off by looking at the motivation actually to study electronic circuits, right? So just before that, before we start everything, I just want to ask you one question, and I am expecting your answers in the chat box. So what is engineering? So I would start here. What is engineering? Yes, I'm getting answers. Applied sciences. No, what is coming to your mind? You can just write it on there in the chat box. We will look at that. Any other thoughts? Creation, innovation. Yes. Designing machines or structures, applying knowledge to solve real problems. Uh, all right. Any more responses? Simplifying lives. Yes. Technology to ease daily task. Yes, of course. Combination of science and technology for analysis and design of devices. Very good. Yeah. Thank you for your replies coming in. You can keep on posting the chats. Right. So I would define engineering as the purposeful use of science. Purposeful use of science. Then what is a science? Or how can I use science for some specific purpose? So what does science teach you? So science basically provides understanding of natural phenomena. Right. So as from the responses, what I can see in the chat box, you have written to simplify lives, to technology to ease daily tasks. Right. So in order to do that, in order to make our lives easy, in order to make technology, in order to use technology to ease our daily task, we need to understand natural phenomena because we are living in this nature, right? So science provides you understanding of this natural phenomena, and engineering is the purposeful use of that science, right? Now, if I quickly give the motivation to study electronic circuits, hold on, I will actually. Yeah, I'll be sharing the Mentimeter graph so that I can get responses from everyone. Yeah, so the question is, what is the motivation to study electronic circuits? Because we are dealing with analog microelectronic circuits, and if we understand the main motivation or the motivation to study this course, where we can start our course, right? So please give your answers here. What is the motivation to study electronic circuits? I hope my voice is clear and there is no lag in my presentation. So what you can do is you can go to menti.com and you can use the code 7980629. You're wondering what is a motivation? Yes, it's everywhere. Okay. Base for every machine. All right. For machines to operate, they need some circuits. Yes. Any more answers? Any more responses? Be able to build on our designs. Emerging technologies. It's everywhere now. Understanding gadgets. Yes, very good. Yes. So AI-based machines. Yeah. What we are talking is about all hi-fi things. What is coming up these days, right? All right. So I'll be just stopping this now. Yeah. Fabric of our gadgets. Yes. Yeah. There are so many responses coming in. It is universal. All right. To build future technology. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the responses. Right. So. All right. Yeah. So to start with, or when we study electronic circuit, yeah, whatever reasons or whatever motivation what we have put on the Mentimeter is very true. But I define in a very simple form. The one of the main motivation, to study electronic circuit is we need, or as we mentioned before, as we live in this world, to make our lives easy, we need processing of information, or I'll say processing of energy or information, right? So I just check whether a lot of background noise is there from my side.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so our main motivation to study electronic circuit is we need to process information around us, right? So coming to that, so what are the different ways we process information? Processing can be anything, right? So what are the different ways we process information around us? So processing information, it can be either communicating the information, right? It can be communication, it can be storage of information, or it can be sometimes transformation of information, right? So the main motivation to study electronic circuit is because we need to process information. So we need to communicate, we need to store, and we need to transform what we are getting, right? So before we before we go further, I just want to bring you five elements or five things to your notice. So they are, so since I defined that the main motivation to study electronic circuit is to process information, we need to look at five things. One is the source of information. Second is the flow of information. So information is coming from a source, how it flows in a particular system. Now, the third thing is loss of information, because we are not living in an ideal world, right? There are losses, or we cannot always think that everything is ideal. There will not be any loss. There will be definitely losses. So loss of information. Then we also need to know about the control of information. How I can control the information, maybe through some external force. And finally, storage of information, right? So whether my audio and video, is there a lag between my audio and video?
No, sir.
Sorry.
All right, okay. So if there is, so please let me know if there is any internet connectivity problems, right? Yeah. So what I'm talking here is the main motivation to study electronic circuit is because we need to process information. Now, when we talk about information or processing of information, we need to look at 5 things. One is what is the source, how it flows in a system, what about the loss of information, and how we can control that, and how we can finally store it, right? So we talked about information now, but I have written something called as energy over here. Right. So if I look at so see, as an electronic engineer, or as we study electronic circuits, analog electronic circuits, we are focusing on how to make our lives easy by taking all the information around us and processing it further. Right. But at the same time, before looking at the sources of information, I just want to ask you this question: what are the primary sources of energy what we have? Can I get a response in chat box? What are the primary sources of energy? Yes, very good. Sunlight, sun, right? Wind, yes. Oil, yeah. Yeah. Fuel, yes, very good, very good. Yeah. So those are the primary sources of energy. So if I list, I can mainly I can list sun, oil, coal, etc. Right? Whatever you have mentioned, all those things, right? And if you look at secondary sources of energy, we have actually power plants. Maybe we have batteries, or all the other kind of stuff will come as a secondary source of energy. Similarly, I want to take you to the information sources. Now, let us look at the information sources. Information sources. So, what are the sources of information? Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So I hope you are able to connect what I'm trying to say. Right. So initially I talked about the motivation of electronic circuit is to process information, and I have listed the 5 basic elements starting from source till how we store information. And then moving on further, before looking at the sources of information, I just asked about the sources of energy what we have, right? And now taking you to the information sources. Can you tell me what are the sources of, yeah, I got an answer. Sensors, all right? So if you look at primary sources of information, photographs, servers, yes, very good. All those are sources of information, right? So I will list out the sources of information here, starting from our speech. Speech is one source of information, right? Similarly, if I look at books, we have books, we have CDs, videos, and so many sources of information we have, right? Now, if I ask you how information flow in a speech system, for example, if I look at a speech system, what do you mean by speech system? Two persons are communicating. But I am talking to you. I am talking to. So if I am talking to a person very next to me, what is how does the information flow in a speech system? So I'm trying to write here as a speech system where 2 people communicate. One person is here, another person is here. When these 2 people communicate, information flow from this point to this point, right? And if you look at the flow of information here, it is basically this flow is through air, right? I just want to check again whether my speech and the things appearing on the screen are together, or is there a delay? One can unmute and just tell me.
Looking fine, sir.
There is a delay, sir. Slight delay.
That is
Yes, sir.
that is
It's a little bit
manageable,
delay.
or there is a huge delay?
No, sir, it's fine.
Manageable.
It's fine,
It's
sir, but
manageable.
it's some delay is there, sir.
All right, okay. So I'll try to, yeah, please turn off your videos, please, because it will consume more bandwidth. Right. So the information flow here. So what you can see is the information flow. This is actually the information flow is through air, right? That is in a speech system. Now, if I ask you, or if I take you to an electronic system, that is what we use currently now, right? Now I am communicating to you not through a not ordinary or a regular speech system, rather I am communicating to you through an electronic system, right? So what are the like how does information flow in an electronic system? It can flow through computers, right? Through mobile phones. These are the means by which information flow in an electronic system. Now, we as a now I am taking you back to the discussion what I have done yesterday. Now, so I told you that, or we discussed when as an analog signal, everything what we see, we perceive in nature is analog. That is what we discussed yesterday, right? Now, whatever we see or we perceive in nature is analog, and we are so to process the information available around us in nature. What we do is we use something called as sensors, right? We use sensors like, yeah, as somebody mentioned, we use sensors like microphones. Those can pick up those information, and those can convert that information into some electrical representation, right? So sensors pick information and they convert, right? So there comes yesterday's the block diagram, right? If you remember, yesterday I was talking about a block diagram where we have various sensors connected, right? These sensors are connected to some electronics. So I called it as interface electronics. So these are sensors. So what you can see here are sensors. So these sensors will pick up the information, and this block maybe this is some electronic information. I don't know what it is. I'll not worry about what is there inside, but this is a box. This is some there is some electronics inside this, right? So this sensors will pick up and the information, and that will be processed, and this is actually converted into some electrical form, or I get an electrical representation of signal, right? So I get an electrical representation of signal. Now, I just want to know whether you guys are with me. So I want to give you a question now. All right, if you have a mobile phone, you can just use yeah, the scanner, the QR scanner, and you can join at Slido with this code, or you can join at slido.com with this code, and I just want answer for this question.
Where is the QR code, sir?
Oh, sorry. Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. By responding to this, you can take a break of 1 minute. You can drink some water. All right, keep on voting. We are 59. All right, another 20, 39 to vote. Only 25 have given me vote. After voting, you can take a break. All right, I got only 32 votes. That means others are sleeping. I don't know. All right, so thank you. I'll be.
Sir, it says you can't access. There's no
Huh?
such event.
Oh,
There's
through
no
the
such event active right now.
through the QR code.
No, through the website.
All right. Okay, that's all right. Okay, I'll check that later. So thank you for joining this, and thank you for giving the votes. I got 33 responses. Thank you. All right, this is just to engage you guys in between. I don't know whether you are here or not with me. Right. So we were talking about information processing, and we have come to this. As I'm back, can you see my screen?
No, sir. Okay, now it came.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Yeah. So now, in an electronic system, we know that information flows through computers, phones, and such things. And basically, for information to flow in an electronic system, we need the electrical form of information, right? So whatever we have in nature in non-electrical form will be converted into electrical form through certain circuitry, right? So for that we use sensors to capture information, different types of sensors. So we use the sensors to capture the information and we convert that into electrical form, right? So here for capturing this information and making it into electrical form, when I say electrical form, to the best electrical form, right? So there comes the application of the circuits we call as analog circuits, right? So to make it more clear, so let me take you to this diagram, right? So this is again a system. I call this as a system where you can see a sender, a person or a sender who is actually sending an information, a useful signal. Now there is a receiver on the other side, and receiver want to receive this signal. Now the sender is transmitting through a channel. I'm not looking at what type of channel that is, but whatever may be the channel, if a sender and receiver are at a distance, definitely the channel, or because this sender and the receiver are not the only people there, right? Or those who are not the only senders and receivers. There may be a lot of other people who are exchanging information. So because of that, that will come as noise, or the interference from the other sources will come as noise to the channel through which this sender is sending this particular information, right? So when that happens, the useful signal which is already sent by the sender will be disrupted or will be corrupted by the noise which is coming from the transmission channel, and finally the receiver will definitely get something which is known as signal, which is overwhelmed by noise. Right. The information or the useful signal what the sender send to the receiver, but at the receiver end, because of the noise in the channel, the receiver may not be able to identify what is the original information sent because of the noise. Right. So this is a very typical scenario, and one very basic thing what we do to overcome this is, so can you tell me what can be done here? There is a useful signal. For example, say a person is actually talking to another person, right? But the other person is at a distance. Let's say on the other side of the road. One person is here and the other person is on the other side of the road, right? So there will be a lot of disturbances coming in between. So how well or what basic thing we need to do in order that this the person on the other side can get the information exactly. So what I should do in this system? Any answer? Yeah, I got an answer here. Yeah, amplify the signal. Very good, right? So if I amplify the signal, then the picture will be something like this. Now, there was the original information signal from the sender side, right? Now that information is amplified before it is getting transmitted through the channel, right? So you have the original signal here, but that signal is amplified to the next level, or it is amplified. Can you see the slide? I have changed my slide. Yes, I think now we can see. Yeah. So the signal is amplified and then it is sent. So that doesn't mean that we are having a control over the noise which is coming from the channel. There is no control over the noise coming from the channel, but we have improved our signal quality, the signal strength, so that even if the signal is corrupted by this noise, the sender will be able to identify the signal that is there in the the receiver will be able to identify the information that is present in the signal which is received at the receiver end. So we will see how it is exactly happening, because or how a larger signal will help in such process we will see later. So I want to take you to this point that amplification is a very basic process which we need to do in which we need to do when we transfer information. So here comes the very basic step, that is amplification. Right. So I just want to take few questions here. If you have questions, you can put in the chat box. Any questions? All right. Okay. Yeah. I hope so far what I have, whatever information I have sent has reached you guys, and that is clear. Right. Okay. So again, I'm stating amplification is a very basic process what we need to do while processing information. So this course AMC, Analog Microelectronic Circuits, discuss in detail about amplifiers. We discuss in detail about amplifiers, right? So we discuss all the parameters related to amplifiers. We will discuss how to design an amplifier from a specification, from a set of specifications, and we will look at how we can improve the important parameters what we are interested in an amplifier. So just for curiosity, I'm asking, can you tell me what are the important parameters that comes to your mind when you hear about an amplifier? Yeah, one is gain. Very good. What else? Distortion. Okay. All right. Bandwidth. shouldn't be there a limit, as in by how much decibels we can amplify the signal before it becomes unusable? Nilanjan, can you make it a little more clear? Shouldn't be there a limit for what? For the signal, you are asking whether there should be a limit for the amplification. Oh yeah, that may be your question, right? Nilanjan, can you respond? Efficiency, all right, efficiency. Noise, very good. Yeah, you guys are bringing in almost all parameters what we will look in an amplifier, right? So Nilanjan, I'll come back to you. Yeah, sir, I'm asking about the signal amplification. Yes. So if you're asking, is there a limit for the amplification? Definitely yes. So why there should be a limit is because that depends on the amplifier circuit what you have, right? So I'll try to explain it over here. Let us see how far you guys can understand that. So say I have an amplifier which works on a 3-volt power supply, right? So it works on a 3-volt power supply. So the entire voltage what we have is from 0 to 3, and your amplifier circuit is taking power from this 3-volt power supply, right? Now, for this amplifier, definitely there will be a maximum output signal level, right? Your output signal level cannot be definitely not more than 3, because your power supply itself is providing a limitation in the sense power supply itself will not allow you to grow more than 3, right? In such cases, there comes actually this phenomena, we call it as distortion, right? So if you have a signal of this amplitude, now if your supply is allowing you to amplify only this much, but if you're trying to do more, considering that this is a power supply limits, if you are trying to do more, signal will look like this, right? This is what exactly we call as distortion. So distortion is basically, see, in an amplifier, if you're amplifying this signal, we want to retain the shape of the input signal. So this is an input signal. At the output of amplifier also, we want to retain the shape of this input signal. But now, because of the larger amplification factor and because of the limitation in the power supply, if the shape of the input signal is changing, we call that as distortion, right? So we will be looking at these things in little more detail. I hope, Nilanjan, you are clear with what you asked, or I will be explaining you more at the end of the session, right? Just I want to finish certain things, and I'll be answering your question back. Yeah, for our course, especially in 3rd semester, we will not be taking all these parameters together because we need to learn a lot about amplifiers, right? So we will be looking at gain. And we will definitely look at bandwidth. Apart from these, we will look at some other parameters. We call it as input and output impedance, right? So don't worry if all these things are new for you guys. We will be looking everything from the very basics, right? For this class, I'm just listing out the parameters. So we will be basically looking at these 3 things. Now, in your next semester course, in your AICD course, in your 4th semester, we will include, or we will start looking at noise also. So in AICD course, we will look at noise in 4th semester. And as I mentioned yesterday, these 2 are the core courses, and then you have a set of electives. And if you are interested, and if you further want to learn something in this line, then definitely you will learn about this distortion in your not in 5th semester, but in 6th semester in a course called RFIC, where distortion is something very very serious. We talk about distortion or non-linearity in high frequency circuits, right? So we will look at that in your 6th semester, right? Definitely efficiency we will look, and efficiency is related to one. We talk efficiency with respect to power amplifiers. Yeah, maybe all these if all these are new terms to you guys, you just leave it here. We will start from very basics from next class onwards, right? Yeah. So I want to. So today's class, I want to dedicate to make you understand that what we learn throughout this course and in your in the other courses related to analog will be dealing mostly with amplifiers, because we have a lot of need to build good amplifiers that can take up natural signals, process it, and connect it to present day digital world, right? So as my question, as I asked my yesterday's question, world is going digital, but why analog, right? So I'll be, as I told, I'll be adding you to the LMS canvas, and there we will take the discussion on this question, right? So I hope so far whatever we discussed, you guys understood. Now, before winding up, I just want to take you to some more basics. Right. So we spoke about information. We spoke about processing of information. Right. For that, we need to pick information, and we want to convert that into electrical form, electrical representation. And we also understood that if we want to process information, the very basic thing what we need to do is amplify, or amplification is a very important process. Right. Now, as I mentioned before, to understand about amplification, or to understand how a circuit called amplifier will amplify electrical signal, we need to get to know fundamental laws, right? So we know that we are not living in an ideal world. There are a lot many non-idealities, but there are a lot many. I hope it is clear when I say we are not living in an ideal world. But at the same time, it is better to understand a complex phenomenon. It is better to understand a non-ideal phenomena by considering something ideal. I don't know whether you guys understood what I'm really talking about. Right. So this is, and I'm stating one principle over here. So we always study the cara of ideal device, and then we will extend to non-ideal, or whatever it is there, right? So I think still there is a lag. Are you guys able to see what I'm presenting?
No, sir.
No, sir.
I think, sorry, my connection is lost from my device. 1 second. All right. I'm using another device, and that, yeah, it is coming. All right. I hope you will be seeing my screen shortly.
Yes, sir, we can see now.
Okay, yeah. Very sorry for the delay. I'll sort it out soon. Yeah. So we always study the Cara of an ideal device, and then we will extend to non-ideal. So very one simple example is probably in your first semester you would have learned about the characteristics of an op-amp, and there you would have called it as ideal op-amp characteristics, and you talked about infinite gain, infinite bandwidth, and all those things, right? So that is a one method of studying electronic circuits. We talk about something ideal, and then we will look at the actual practical circuits, right? So to do that, we will start looking at certain elements that you are familiar. So let me look at a resistor first. Let me look at a resistor. Now, I know that you guys will be knowing a resistor. So if a voltage is applied across the resistance, current will be flowing through that we mark as I, right? So if we write the relation between voltage across and current through this resistance, I can write the relation as V equal to I into R, right? So this relation we call as the element law. The element law for this resistance. And if I plot this, I can plot like this: voltage axis here, current axis here, and if I plot, this will be the line, and I can write the slope as 1 by R. Maybe you can extend this to the negative axis side as well, right? So this is the element law for a resistance. Now this is not something ideal, right? This is a resistor is offering some resistance to the current flow. So what is ideal to this? So ideal is actually a conductor which offers no resistance, right? So this is one way actually. So for a conductor will actually conductor will not resist any current flow. Conductor will actually conductor is basically what this is actually a short. Right. These two lines are basically short, or this can be considered as a wire also, right? So but we will definitely look at basic elements like resistors. So what are the other elements you are familiar? The other basic elements. Yes, capacitor, all right. Then you may talk about inductors, yes. Then I will add one more term over here. Okay, so before looking at capacitors or inductors, we will just look at some ideal, what we call as ideal voltage source. So what is an ideal voltage source? So I represent an ideal voltage source, something like this, which provides a voltage, say V. Right. Now, how will I plot the IV character or the elemental law for this? So what is the elemental law for this? So what I will do here is I will mark. I am using a different notation here, just for you guys to understand. The voltage what I am varying across this resistance I am marking as small v, and the current I am marking as small I. Right, just to make that difference. So here voltage source, ideal voltage source is ideally the voltage is actually V. Now, if I want to plot V, if I want to plot the IV characteristics of this voltage source, how it will be? Yeah, Karthik mentioned no internal resistance. No, I am calling it as an ideal voltage source. So this is V and this is I. So what is an ideal voltage source? It provides whatever is the voltage, irrespective of what is connected across it, right? Irrespective of how much current this voltage, so the load is, I will not bring in such terms. Irrespective of whatever is connected to this ideal voltage source, the voltage remains same, right? Yeah, straight line parallel to Y, very true. So if I draw that, it will be something like this, right? This will be V. So irrespective of voltage variation across this voltage source, irrespective of voltage, the voltage remains same, but only the current will vary. Right. Okay. So with this, I am winding up today's session because there is some internet connectivity problem also. Let us discuss on further on what we have discussed today.